Welcome back. Let's switch gears from Lagos politics to national sports. The groups are now complete. AFCON 2025 is up and running. I think it's going to take place later in the year. But the groups fixtures have been out. Nigeria is in Group C. And we're going to look at all of these details. We'll be joining the program by the men who have been there. Mutiu Adepoju, Nigerian ex-international, joins us. Thank you so much, the headmaster himself. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning.
And of course, we have Mr. Toyin Ibitoye, our very own sports broadcaster, former media officer of the Nigerian Super Eagles. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibitoye, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. You didn't complete your introduction of Mutiu Adepoju.
Okay, what did I miss out?
AFCON winner. AFCON winner.
Oh, fine.
AFCON silver medalist.
I want to add another one.
Medalist.
I'll add another one. Is our legend. Is a legend. So that covers a lot of ground.
A living legend. Yes.
All right. Let's start with the legend himself, Mr. Mutiu Adepoju. I'm sure you've seen all the groups and how it has played out. But our interest today, between all of us, is how the Nigerian group. What's your impression of what you interpret to be the possibilities, what we may likely see at the group stage, as far as the group Nigeria belongs to is concerned?
Oh, well, I think, for me, it was an accessible group, which I think, we shouldn't have any problem. But, we should just, remember that, there's nothing fixed, or I think we can't just say that we're going to qualify, or we have to work very hard and be prepared very well for it. There is no small team or minus now in football, and we just have to put all our efforts in everything to play all the games and prepare very well before we have 11 months to prepare. And I think, with what we have on ground, the players, we have the capability of qualifying in the group and even go further.
Let me stay with you if I go to Mr. Ibitoye. In your days, certain things would have played out, just as you said. There are names you just look and say, come on, this one, we hit this off. This particular group, we're going to qualify, or we may have a difficult situation with this particular group. So we have Nigeria, Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. By reputation, by track record, by abilities of the players within the team, as well as by their performance in past AFCON. If you were to be in this Super Eagles team, what are the kinds of conversations you'll be having with the boys?
Well, I would just be discussing that. We have to take everything very serious right from the beginning, from the first game, because the first game is always very, very important. When you win that first game, you have leverage, you have the confidence, you have 3 points already, and then other games, you have to take it with all seriousness. And I think the so-called minus, the team that always give problems to big teams. So we are not going to take it very lightly and just to qualify. That's what I will be saying in the camp if I'm to be there.
Okay, so don't take any team with just the usual minus mindset. I like that, and I think that has been said time and again. But Mr. Ibitoye, looking at the rankings of those teams in our group, well, we are the highest ranked naturally, usually. 5th in Africa, then you see Tunisia 9th in Africa, Uganda 19th, Tanzania is not top 20 just yet. But again, we know that those things do not matter. This is Eric Shell's major, at least first major tournament. Thankfully, Mali is not in our group. So again, the same question, but in another light, as a coach, what kind of challenge do you think is before Eric Shell?
Yeah, the AFCON is 11 months away, For Eric Shell, the AFCON is priority 2, if I may say. Priority 1 for Eric Shell is in March, when the World Cup qualifiers begin. But since we are focusing on the AFCON here, I hope that by the time we are playing the AFCON in December, because this AFCON is a Yuletide AFCON, it will start towards Christmas and end in January 2026. My hope and my expectation is that by the time we are playing this AFCON in December, we are in a very good mood, which means possibly we've qualified for the 2026 World Cup. If that happens, we'll be full of confidence, full of optimism, and be in a buoyant mood to go into the AFCON. God forbid that the opposite is the case. We will still be, nursing our wounds and, still be trying to recover from the shock of not going to the World Cup. And that, of course, will shape a lot of things around the AFCON in December. But if you look at that group as it is on paper, definitely Nigeria is one of the favorites to qualify from the group. But as Headmaster said, he has a lot of experience in tournaments of this nature. Nothing is guaranteed. If you see these next 2 known teams, they come very prepared for you. They come very motivated to play against you. And so if you are off guard or you think they are small and you don't prepare adequately for them, they could surprise you. An example, of course, was last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire. In the group, our group, we had Nigeria, you had Cote d'Ivoire, you had Equatorial Guinea, you had Guinea-Bissau. Easily, the last team in that group should be either Guinea-Bissau or Equatorial Guinea. But guess what? Equatorial Guinea topped the group. They topped the group ahead of Nigeria. Cote d'Ivoire qualified with the skin of, in fact, it was a miracle. They qualified on the last day with 3 points and a massive goal difference, a negative goal difference. And then eventually it turned around and they went on to win. So a lot of surprises will always be there, particularly from those little known teams. You know Tunisia, so you come prepared for Tunisia. They know you, they come prepared for you. But you see all those Tanzania, all those Uganda, they have a lot of players who are playing on their domestic scene, who are fired up, who are motivated, who want to go all out, to make a name for themselves by taking you down. And so you don't have to let down your guards. You have to go prepared and get the job done.
Really, we must reiterate, particularly for the North African teams as well. A lot of them play in the local leagues. The East African teams as well, they play, so they know themselves. And some of them have this very massive endurance in games, and they can just go the whole hog and sort of wear you out. But you made a very vital point, really. And I want to go to the headmaster for this one. We have individual stars, right? And I don't want to mention names, so I don't run foul of any, these players have their own followings now. But you can talk about Sime, you can talk about Ademola Lookman, you can talk about a lot of them, really. Let me just stop there. How do you expect Eric Shell to shape this team? Thankfully, we have the qualifiers to help us at least put the team together eventually. So, Headmaster, how do you expect the coach to play around these individual stars we have? A lot of them don't play together, unlike these East African and North African teams. So, what are your expectations in terms of making use of the individual stars, but making them work together as a team?
Well, I think Eric Shell has a lot of work to do. With the players. In terms of trying to managing the players. They are all big stars in their right, and like you said, just putting all the resources together and having a philosophy of the game in which the players will be able to adapt to, so that when they are on the field, they will be able to combine together and put all their resources together and make the team very solid. And I think he has a great work to do in that aspect, and looking forward to, like Toyin said, The World Cup qualifiers, it's around the corner, and all those matches, and the first two matches, most especially, is very very important, and it's going to make us, give us the confidence and make the team feel the confidence and to move ahead and to go forward, because the World Cup qualifiers, the World Cup, all the matches that is remaining, I think there are like 6 matches. It's very very important that we win if we want to qualify for the World Cup and all that. So I think he has a lot to do, and I believe with the support of everybody, he will be able to do all those things to make us qualify and to go ahead to the AFCON in 11 months.
Mr. Ibitoye, let's talk about the weaknesses. You and Mr. Adepoju have had, of course, you see it beyond the way we see it. We just see them in 90 minutes every game, and that's the best of it, besides pressers and even social media. But there's a conversation beyond that you've had the opportunity to have with these boys. So if you're looking at our weakness, let's begin to address it. What should be the things we should be looking at critically from now? We have qualifiers coming up in the next 2 months, and then the tourney itself coming up in December.
What I have identified as one of our weaknesses in the last couple of weeks has been a lack of leadership on the pitch. On some occasions, particularly in the World Cup qualifiers, and then maybe a lack of hunger, a lack of commitment in some games. Like the last game we played against Rwanda, we had already qualified, and so maybe that's an excuse for a little bit of complacency. But it is dangerous to be complacent in at this level, because one loss could lead to loss of confidence, and then one loss leads to another loss, and it leads to another loss, and the confidence is gone, and you don't get it back. And before you know what's happening, the whole team is down. A very good example of this is Ghana. Ghana were having a good run in the World Cup qualifiers, and then one bad result, and they never recovered from the bad result, and they are not going to be at the AFCON. So that's what we have to address. We have to be committed. We have to have leadership on the pitch. By leadership, I mean how to react to situations during the game. Because in a football game, the difference between winning and losing sometimes could be down to very small details. And you need an experienced person, you need a leader on the pitch to tell the boys, look, okay, we concede a goal first. Doesn't mean we are out. We can fight back. We can still win this game. We are making this mistake. Let's correct it. Let's fight this way. Apart from whatever the coach is telling you from the sidelines, on the pitch, you need that leadership. You need that hunger. You need that commitment. And I think, you see, we are blessed, as you said, as Sekayode also said, with a lot of talents. If we get our acts together, if we get these boys to play to their abilities, if we play with hunger and commitment, and we give our 100%, it's very difficult for us to be stopped, particularly in Africa, because we are so good. We have good players, and once these boys can take into gear and show that commitment, giving 100%, we can deal with anything. But the issue is, how do we constantly ensure that we are able to get our players to that level?
Major issues really you've raised, but Nigerians don't play with their football, so we expect that the team naturally will not play with our emotions eventually. But looking at the groupings, yes, there are other groups, but quickly I want us to run through, right? But quickly with our group, aside Nigeria, who would you say is the other team that you think might pull a surprise, qualify with Nigeria, and then we'll walk through Group A to Group F? But of course, Nigeria is qualifying in that group. Amen. But I'll begin with you, Mr. Ibitoye, then I'll go to the headmaster. Which other team do you expect? I'm thinking Tunisia, because it's going to take place in Morocco, and this is another North African country. But I may be wrong. What do you think, Mr. Ibitoye?
Definitely.
Okay, Mr. Ibitoye first, then we'll come to headmaster.
Okay. clearly option one for me is Nigeria.
Yeah.
I don't really care about any other team that joins Nigeria. But let me just say something very quickly about the football in Tanzania. Their domestic football is on the rise. It's the Simba of this world, the young Africans of this world. They are doing really well. And their clubs are getting into the crucial stages of continental competitions, you know. So Tanzania, football in Tanzania is on the rise, and that's a factor. So I won't be surprised if they're able to carry on to getting something decent at the AFCON. My eyes are on Tanzania and Nigeria in that group.
Headmaster, so you give us your own on Group C, and then maybe run us through some of the other groups. But of course, the focus is on Group C.
Okay. I think, looking on paper, well, definitely Nigeria is going to qualify. Which is what every one of us wants. Then looking at the on paper, what we'll say Tunisia, but like Toyin said, Tanzania football is on the rise, and they might put some surprise. Surprise. And I think Tunisia, they have very good football too. And looking at the North Africans, the way they perceive and the way they do. When they are on the continent and all that, they have very good football, and they have good opportunity of qualifying. So I think it's going to be between Nigeria, Tunisia, and Tanzania, not undermining Uganda, because there might be surprises.
Okay, Mr. Ibitoye, as we begin to wind down the headmaster, maybe two straight questions.
Walk through the groups.
While you're trying to, you help us walk through other groups, Mr. Ibitoye, because it's AFCON. But I wanted to find out from you, Mr. Ibitoye, whether we're going to see another all West African finals, just like we saw in the last tourney.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility, but when the North Africans are hosting and they get their crowds and their fans behind them, it can be a factor, you know. So just leave a little room for a North African team, you know. Maybe could possibly. The last time we had a tournament in North Africa was Egypt, and it was Algeria that won it. That was Egypt in 2019. Algeria won it, beating Senegal in the final. So I'm not going to be writing off maybe Morocco playing at home, riding on the success of the World Cup in 2022, and they have a decent team, a young team. So maybe Morocco could be in with a little bit of magic, but you never say never. In football, in the tournament of this nature, you can have surprises.
The headmaster himself, I wanted you to also speak to that effect. What do you see, a West African final, or there's going to be a mixture this time? Because we're just trying to project and extrapolate here. West African final is possible. Looking at all the tips that we have, but North Africans we have to be very conscious of what they are doing. Most especially Morocco, like Toyin said. Morocco is burning. They are jeering, doing everything possible to win. AFCON, because they have not won it in a very, very long time. I think they've only won it once. And the way their football is developing, their facilities and everything, and what they did at the last World Cup too. I think they are really willing and willing to win the AFCON. Then we should not undermine Egypt. They are the only team that have won it 7 times, the AFCON, and they have not won it in a very, very long time too, and they really want to come back. So we have to put all those in consideration and all that. But definitely West African final is possible.
We have chosen to be nice in this conversation. We did not talk about football management. We didn't talk about the NFF funding, because it's still early days. So this is a nice startup, but not to forget that these are the issues we must also keep our eyes on, all of the football management issues. So we hope that they've gotten their acts together. But there you have it, 11 months to go.
All right, so we want to thank you both for coming on the program. Mr. Toyin Ibitoye, sports broadcaster, former Super Eagles media officer, as well as the legend himself. I like to leave it at legend, Mr. Toyin Ibitoye. He covers a lot of ground. Mutiu Adepoju, the headmaster. So legend covers AFCON, World Cup, European League, everything. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue the conversation as we progress in our sports scene development. We'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll switch gears for another conversation away from football and sports. Join us again.